Hello, everybody. Welcome to Akash Livestream. Uh, Here with me, I'll have Jack Zampolin very shortly. He is having some trouble with the connection. So hopefully in the next 5 minutes, we should be resolving this. See a lot of familiar faces. Welcome back. And this is our third live stream. And this live stream will be focused a little beyond just the Akashian challenge, and an opportunity for you, the community, to ask us any questions regarding the network. And like with our regular streams, we'll be sharing updates, lots of exciting updates across the board, both the product as well as partnerships. And again, like with every live stream, by the end, we will have a draw to the lucky winners from our past live stream, and the winner will get a Akash Super Mini. And yeah, like with our traditional format, we request you post your questions in the Ask a Question button on the bottom of your screen. There you are. We missed you.
Hey, I'm back. Oh, I'm back. Hey.
Yes, totally. I was just explaining them the schedule and the agenda. Like with every live stream, we can ask a question and we will answer it by end of the stream. And let's kick off with the company updates. We successfully launched our phase 2 for the Akashian challenge. Great job. Thanks again, Jack, for all the effort with the product and our engineering team. They are phenomenal in pushing the DEX capability for us to be able to test out both the scalability vectors as well as adversarial vectors. And thank you all for participating. We had incredible response. Jack will dig into more on the response so far.
Yeah, thanks, Greg. You know, it's we did the first phase of the testnet with the decentralized launch, and it was really great to see the validator set sort of pick that network up and run with it. And that gives us a lot of confidence going to mainnet that we're going to be able to work with you folks to help launch this network. Now, with phase 2, we've entered another phase of testing where we're trying to ensure that the functionality on chain functions as intended, users understand how to interface with that. And then in phase 3, we're going to bring everything together and do a full dry run of this decentralized cloud that we're building. So this is the first testnet that our engineering team has stood up, and I want to call out their excellent work in ensuring that we do have a stable network for the users. And as Greg mentioned, we did have a bit of a hiccup this week, and it was due to a little bit of misconfiguration on our side, and that was fixed, and we were able to get the network back up in no time. And orders have continued to flow, and we're seeing folks pick those up. And you know, one of the things that I've really been enjoying over the last week is opening up the stream of events on the testnet and watching this happen in real time. And you know, I think that Greg, you would totally agree with this, but as a developer, one of the most fun things that you can do is have people actually using your product, and seeing a live network with a bunch of folks using it just puts a huge smile on my face. So with that in mind, the next stage of phase 2 is going to be sort of a free-for-all throughput test, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later. But phase 2 is going along great. We're seeing tons of participation, and everyone's grabbing those orders as soon as they come in. So great work, everyone.
Awesome. I know we had a little hiccup with our PTP issues. That's really the configuration. Hopefully, that should not be an issue, right? We fixed that, and yeah.
Yeah, you know, we saw a lot of the sort of stress points of the network in Game of Zones. And, you know, we've tried to take those lessons that we learned from the infrastructure in Game of Zones and apply them to Akash. And, you know, that first deployment that we did on the testnet, there were some minor issues. We were able to quickly fix those and have a much more robust network. part of that is we've also, over the last couple of weeks prior to launching this testnet, the engineering team has been working hard on build automation and automation to stand up these testnets, and that's substantially complete. So if there's a need for more Sentry capacity, if there's a need for any of these other things, we'll be able to easily script that and bring those, bring that additional capacity online if it's needed in the next part of phase 2. But this has been a great dry run for that more high throughput section. Awesome.
In our partnerships front, our biggest partnership announcement was with Looney. Yeah, I always felt Looney had far superior user experience when it comes to blockchain operations than any wallet that I've interacted with. I've been a big fan of their Cosmos wallet, and we've been working with them for quite a bit, actually, about a little over 6 months, and we finally, came to a stage where we can actually demonstrate the UI and beautiful interfaces that they developed for Akash. So with the wallet, you can essentially stake and delegate and vote on different proposals and have an explorability for the blockchain, all using a single web or mobile or an extension. Super excited about it. And they also were great to publish a guide on how to stake Akash on Looney. So check that out. And Jack, you want to say a little bit about the Looney partnership?
Absolutely. As I mentioned in the chat, I worked with Jordan and Fabo at AIB, and to see them continuing to build that team, continuing to grow the product and the user base there, it's really, really cool. They also just launched a feature called notifications, so you can get notifications in Slack or whatever messenger you use for a broad variety of events on all of the blockchains that they support. Really looking forward to that feature and love to see what they've continued to ship and will continue to ship in the future. So excited to continue to work with them.
Yeah, another incredible partnership from a capital standpoint is TRG Capital. We're really great to have them as a partner in Akash, both for providing us the intense resources we need from a capital standpoint and also from a validation standpoint. They've been extremely forthcoming with introductions and instrumental in expanding our ecosystem. So really excited about them, and we announced that I believe yesterday. So do check that out. And a big thing we did this week was to launch our Chinese community. It was a massive success. We did our first AMA yesterday to over 5,000 people on the chat, and it was surprising audience. The reception was incredible. I never imagined anything at that scale before, and turns out we were it's been quite long since a new project like Akash's level has been introduced in the Chinese market. So we're very excited for that. And considering China is also a gigantic market for machine learning, and they've been leading quite a bit in that space, so Akash will be a great addition to their capacity in general. I'm happy to answer any more questions on the launch too.
Yeah.
And also we do have all our assets that are converted into Chinese. Go do check out our website. You should be able to download the white papers, blog content, and the entire website is also available for you to see. And thanks so much to our partners, Forball, for helping us quite a bit with these translations. Again, this is a network. It's a community effort that helped us launch to our Chinese community. So it's always phenomenal. And do check us out on WeChat. We can paste a QR code to it. And Weibo and Haibo is our Chinese networks. We should be able to post some links there. And we have something special today. We have As most of you know, we've been migrating our code base from our old Tendermint to the Cosmos SDK over the last few months. And I'm really excited to report that our core migration for our DEX operations is complete too. So we're almost feature complete, leaving out the user experience elements of it, but from a technology and functionality elements of the software is ready to go. Jack here is going to give you all an incredible demo of our of the deployment capabilities of the DEX. So Jack,
yeah, for sure, and thank you very much, Greg. Having worked with the old platform and also worked with the new platform, very excited to see it reach sort of like core feature parity with the old platform, which is, I know, something that we've all been anxious about for a while, but really excited about that piece of it. So I've shared the demo that I'm going to run through with you here, and this is meant to be something that you can spin up locally and work with each of the individual pieces. I think we'll likely turn this into a developer environment for developing applications on top of Akash so that you can easily test them. So with that said, let's go ahead and share the screen here. All right, so we're in my terminal. I've got a few windows open here, and if anyone has any questions during this, please go ahead and drop them in the chat. So in my first terminal here, I have a Kubernetes cluster running with something called Kind, which is Kubernetes and Docker. So this is just a local Kubernetes API that's able to spin up and provision nodes within it that are just ephemeral Docker containers. So yeah, you see the spin up here. I've loaded a couple of Docker containers into the environment to help save on bandwidth. And then beyond that, we're just creating an Nginx ingress. So this is a web server that's going to route all of the traffic that's coming into the cluster, and a metric server. And that metric server is up, and you can use the kubectl command line tool to navigate around this cluster. And we can see the ingress Nginx. Oh, that's right. Git deploy. Yeah, and we see that Nginx ingress controller there, and you can easily dig into this Kubernetes cluster. It's a really nice environment to learn Kubernetes. So if you're sort of newer to the platform, this demo is also a great way to expose yourself to that as well. So this is the provider side. So this is what you would be running on either your super mini or in a data center, and you would have this spun up. And then the next piece of this platform that we have is the blockchain. And this is the piece that we're testing in the testnet that you all, especially the folks who have come over from the Cosmos community, know and love. And what you're seeing here is just a basic local chain bootstrapping. And this is, you can think of this as the testnet, and you can actually go ahead and run this demo on the testnet as well. It's a little bit more complicated, and there's a lot more moving pieces. So I would encourage you to try this one first, but here it is. So the next thing that you need to do is create a provider, and this points to the provider daemon, which a lot of you all are running to grab these orders, and allows users to deploy on that. Providers have some attributes, and you can easily customize those to whatever you want to offer to your users. So we're going to go ahead and create that provider. What? Oh, it's make provider create. And this is just a transaction that posts that YAML file to the chain. That's successful, and now we're ready to deploy an application. So that's the setup from a provider side. You need a Kubernetes cluster. Oh, and then this piece too. The provider daemon, and an on-chain action to associate your provider daemon with your key so that you can be paid by users. Now, with that in mind, let's jump over to the deployment side. So if I'm a user, and let's say I want to deploy my personal website, I I would write a deployment file like this that describes in the Akash SDL things like how much compute I actually want to buy, how much am I going to pay for it, where is that compute being hosted, and this US West region associates with this US West here on the provider. So this is where you as a user would choose your provider. And then a little bit of information about how that service has to run, ports, what the domain name is going to be, etc. So we're going to go ahead and post that to the chain. And one thing to note here is that the entire deployment file is not stored on chain, just the information about currency settlement so that payments can go through. And this is also to help preserve application privacy a little bit. So we see that deployment got created successfully. And once the deployment has gotten created, there's going to be an order created for it. And this is the flow that everyone on the testnet is very familiar with at this point. That order has the provider bidding, and then it wins a lease. And once you have that lease, the piece that's new and that we haven't been showing on the testnet is you need to send that deployment.yaml file to the provider daemon that's won the lease. And once you do that, then the provider daemon will deploy those resources. And we can go over here on the Kubernetes cluster and see that it's created a namespace in the Kubernetes cluster. It created a namespace specifically for this deployment. And we can even watch the logs here and see us loading that deployment up. Oh, we need to -w that. Nope. Watch. Okay. So, and as I said, it's going to be available at hello.localhost.com. So, bam, here it is. Here's my personal website. It's just a pretty simple blog with a Go server. So it's serving a bunch of Markdown. You can kind of click through the blog and do all of that stuff. But in addition, there's an API on here. So you can easily imagine integrating much more complex services, and this could call out to whatever backend you want it. So this application deployment template is very broad and could support a wide variety of different application deployments. And again, I've shared in the chat the link to this demo, and you can go ahead and run it locally, and it works now. So please go ahead and give that a try. And if you guys have any questions, drop into the Telegram or in the Riot, and we'll try to get those answered and walk you through that. But this is the platform that I think we're all very, very excited about. These integrations with these core pieces of open source infrastructure are really demonstrated well by this, and being able to dig into it on both the provider and the application deployment side. I think especially for developers who kind of learn through running through these examples, it's going to be a really powerful example to help folks understand the platform deeply and be able to build applications on top of it.
Awesome, thank you so much. That was it's truly amazing to see the platform functioning back again to what was in a much scalable, much more secure, easily manageable way. And we're really excited about phase 3 because the goal of the phase 3 is to incentivize folks to build or bring on applications that you are used to using every day, open source applications, to even oracles and front ends for DeFi applications and all kinds of things will be incentivized to bring on Akash. This functionality, what we demonstrated, is what is going to make it to the phase 3 with a lot more code to stabilize and test it and whatnot. And so that's going to be very, very exciting. And we do what's coming next week. Next week is our the second part or the three pieces in our phase 2, which is chaos is a ladder. We will be testing our DEX, the throughput of the DEX. We're going to be stretching this performance envelope. And so far, the first phase 1 was designed to test the basic functionality of order creation and order capture. and test. The week 2 is designed to test the throughput. So Jack, you want to take on?
Yeah, so it's going to be substantially what we did this week, but instead of orders being submitted to the platform, you users, are going to need to submit those orders as well. So we're expecting users to create a provider and then develop some sort of scripting to create some orders. I had a basic bash script that basically just calls AkashCTL and creates orders out of the same deployment file. I'd imagine a number of users will end up doing that. But the aspects that we're going to be scoring on are total lease hours per provider, total number of leases, and then from a application deployer side, the total number of lease hours, how many hours of compute you're buying, and the total number of leases you have. And we'll be coming out with, I'm going to be writing this weekend a bit of a guide on that, but the provider side of this is the guide that we have for phase 1. And the only command that you guys are going to need to use for the deployment is the, I believe it's AkashCTL TX deployments create. And you use one of those deployment.yaml files that is valid. And we've got a number of examples of these in the Akash repo that you can start with. I know Quan has a couple that he's worked up as well. So, post those to the network and we will be monitoring that. We're expecting very high volume throughput, and this is going to be a great real world test of high volume scenarios on the network. So really looking forward to that.
Great. So now it's time for the lucky draw for Super Mini. And let me share my screen. How do I share my screen? There it is. All right, let's do this. And the winner is Doug F. Doug, are you here?
Well, congratulations, Doug. Doug is here. Hey, congrats, man.
Just to clarify, this is for folks that attended our last live stream. Again, we will be doing a similar draw for our next live stream as well. So congratulations, Doug. Awesome. And shout out again, thanks so much, Paul. Paul, again, he's been crushing it, and he has an incredible blog post that he posted. We should be sharing our links in the chat. Chandelier, love the blog you guys posted. We are incredibly thankful for you for your participation and your leadership in the testnet. And by 23 for being extremely active in our Twitter. And thank you so much for spreading the word. And Andy, of course, you required a special shout out for that amazing tweet you wrote the other day. All right, Q&A time.
Ask us anything.
Is there a plan for a front-end analytics type tool to track all those stars across the network, stats across the network? We would love for the community to build any analytics tools, and I believe there are a few analytics tools that are being built right now. And if you look at our long-running challenges, we are incentivizing folks to build those as well. So if you have an idea for a tool, the API is completely open. I believe we have the API docs in our documentation docs site as well. If not, we have to push that very soon. And build away and let us know if you need any endpoints that you'd like to see, and we should make that happen as well.
Yeah, and it is a Cosmos-based chain, and we do just have these custom modules. So whoever is writing this integration or is interested in building this UI, there's a very bounded set of additional data that needs to be handled. And yeah, we're looking forward to some folks building that. You know, right now with the team size that we have and the plan that we have on going to market, the UI piece of it is not as important. After we launch the network and start getting some initial applications on it, our focus will shift over towards more user experience and UI development. But right now we're very focused on this core developer user experience that starts with the Go code and extends into sort of a Linux programming environment. And that's where we are now. I do expect to see, as all of these decentralized networks have had, folks build these visualizers and show this data, but we're not there yet.
And as you have experienced our previous version of the product, which has incredible developer experience, and the reason we are taking a little different approach with the current migration is, number one, we want to give the community the opportunity to come up with a lot of the tooling. And number two, we want to onboard a few customers and learn from their workflows and learn from their patterns before we can solidify on a certain pattern or a workflow for our developer tooling. So expect to see that in a few months, gradual improvement in our developer experience. Right now, you're going to have to deal with JSON and YAML files, but those are not bad, actually, if you're a tool maker. So again, this is an opportunity for the community to build tools based on our tool chain, and I think that's a way better way to go.
Also, I will note the protobuf migration is going to be hitting Akash soon as well, and that's going to make these JavaScript libraries a lot easier to use. We're working with the Cosmos community to help develop those libraries and ensure that they're broadly usable by applications like ours. And you know, we will definitely be utilizing that as well, and you know, look out for that in the future. But that is something to note if you're looking into UI development right now.
And also means that you will be able to have libraries for any language that protobuf supports, be it Rust, be it C++, Java to Ruby, whatnot. So you can develop essentially these clients, and and we'll help you spread the word. Even incentivize you both in tokens as well. So yeah, code away, open source is beautiful, so you don't need anyone's permission to build it. Second question, is there a biz dev customer referral program in the works? Yes, please reach out to Boz Manzalji. He's pretty active on our Telegram. He should be able to talk to you more about how we are looking at it. And we do have a few amazing referral style programs that we will be introducing in phase 3. And one of the goals of phase 3 is to demonstrate the interoperability side of Akash. So you will be seeing quite a bit of demos where we will work with other blockchains that to provide complementary functionality to our applications. So, and there is definitely a referral opportunity there. Yes, referral opportunity. We love data centers and we love applications. So anything there is great.
Yeah, and you know, as Greg mentioned, Boz has been doing a lot of great work there, and that is definitely a strategy that we're planning on using for growing this network, especially at the beginning to help bootstrap this market. And we, as a part of our work, have built and maintained relationships with a number of folks in tech and in these different verticals, and we're going to be leveraging that network, and hopefully that also the incentives of the network incentivize you all and the folks who are helping us build it to help us find some of these application partners and data center partners as well. So looking forward to working with everyone here. And if anyone has any specific questions on this, as Greg mentioned, reach out to Boz. I'm also happy to help field questions as well. So thank you, Andy, for that question.
Awesome. And again, remember, we're for our developer incentives, we're giving away 5% of the network. Last testnet we did was 2%. This testnet is 3%. So we are very committed to ensuring the developers are incentivized early, so that that'll be a bootstrapping mechanism before the value of the network actually occurs in the token. Great. If we don't have any questions, we'll call it tonight.
Yeah.
And see you on the Telegrams and Twitters and everywhere else.
Yep, absolutely. Thank you, Greg. It's great to see you this morning.
Likewise. Thanks, Jack.
And thank you, everyone else. Have a great day.